Hiya, and it's me again. And tomorrow, one of the biggest patches in Maplestory is coming out. Ignition. Basically, Cygnus Knight's getting remastered. You get a free level 250 and a bunch of other stuff. Um, a lot of Ignition in terms of the event rewards and the actual events themselves are pretty much a carbon copy of Destiny, but there are a lot of extra things that are coming to Ignition, like Hyperburn, different Infernal Wolf difficulties, Extreme Monster Park, Extreme Black Mage, Extreme Saren, and I'm going to be covering all of it in this video. It's going to be quite a long one. Hopefully you guys enjoy. And remember to like, comment, and sub, or I will literally eat your mesos faster than Star Forcing does. Thanks. So I will start by addressing the elephant in the room and the thing that everybody is excited about: Hyperburn. What to hyperburn, how to hyperburn, and what do you get for hyperburning? Now, there's a lot of contextual situations on what you should hyperburn, but if you haven't started a main and you have been building Legion before the Ignition update, hyperburning your main is the best thing to do. The amount of resources that you get literally just for leveling up and playing the game is absolutely immense. For people who already have a main and for people who are already established, try to hyperburn a character that checks as many boxes as possible. This being a link skill that you may haven't completed, a legion that is very useful for your account, or just a character that you enjoy. Because obviously playing a character that you wouldn't enjoy would be quite a pain if you were to get it to level 250. Even though you do burn all the way up to level 250, you are going to be playing this character for a while. So most importantly, play a character that you like. Me personally, for anybody who's curious, I'm going to be burning a Jet because the level 250 Legion for Jet characters or Shade characters or Hayato characters is crit damage. And critical damage is one of the most important and scarce stats in the game, and getting even just that extra 1% is amazing for any account. And on top of that, Jet is not a very difficult character to play, so it's something that I can use as a bossing mule to net me even more income in the future. But yeah, in terms of how to hyperburn a character, there are two ways to do it. So when you create a character, you can either burn that character from the character selection screen, or you will get the option to burn an existing character that is level 200 or beyond. Now, if you are burning a character that is level 200 or beyond, you want to make sure that it's on a multiple of 3 that gets you exactly to 250. So for example, you want to be level 202, 205, 208, 211, so on and so forth, so that as you're leveling up, you hit 250 exactly, and you don't have to force yourself to go through another level. So for example, if you're level 246 and you're burning, you level up to 249, and if you level up at 249, you will only go up to level 250, not 252. The amount of rewards that you get from the hyperburning is very, very similar to a Terror Burn, except for one important thing. All of your arcane symbols start at level 5. So this is roughly equivalent to like 150 symbols of each type. So before level 200, you will get a 30-day pet, a level 30 equipment set, the Onyx set. It's like red and black, and it's equipped at level 100. I'm pretty sure it has a different name in our region. I think it's called like the Frozen Onyx or something like that. And then you get a temporary Chaos Root Abyss set, same as just like any of the other sets. 12 stars, epic potentials. I could be wrong. I think this is actually 15 stars. I'll probably just put it on the screen. But I'm pretty sure it's the same as what it usually is. 12 stars, epic potential. The weapon does come with a fixed potential of 6 attack, 3 damage, and some crit rate. And then you get an Eternal Flame title when you hit level 200. And then at level 200, you get a level 5 Vanishing Journey symbol, 50 nodes. At level 210, you get the Flame Event Ring and a level 5 Choo Choo Island symbol. At level 220, you get a level 5 Latchland symbol, and you get your choice of an Absolab weapon or a Dominator pendant. Yet again, I would always suggest to go for the Absolab weapon because it makes progressing into Arcanes a lot easier. The Dominator pendant just doesn't serve any use because you can't start past 15, and 15 is very, very, very weak in comparison to 17 stars. Level 225, you get a level 5 Arcana symbol and another 50 nodes. At level 230, you get a level 5 Morass symbol, an NX set for your character to, get that good old drip. Another 50 nodes on top of that. At level 235, you get a level 5 Asphera symbol, an Experience Node Stone, which can be used to level up any node of your choice. At level 240, you get 2 Experience Node Stones, the same thing at level 245. And at level 250, you get an Infinite Flame title coupon. I don't know what this does exactly, but I'm assuming that it'll just boost your stats temporarily as you progress into the later regions. The effects might wear off and it might have some permanent stats. They may be useful for your character overall. But yeah, the rewards are really good. So overall, you get around 200 nodes. You get around 200 nodes and a bunch of level 5 symbols. So your main priority on the hyper burning character is to just level it up. You shouldn't be worrying about how much damage you're doing. Especially for those people who don't have totems, because kill speed is something that you're going to meet regardless, because obviously there's just less mobs on the screen. If you are planning to totem on your hyper burning character, I do suggest that you focus a little bit on its accessories and different gears so that as you're leveling up and as you're farming this character, you can get a lot of node stones and meso to fund this character as it moves along throughout the Arcane River. But yeah, that's pretty much it about hyper burning. It's your standard burning, but it gives you a whole bunch of extra symbols and it goes all the way to level 250, which obviously saves a lot of time. This is a free ticket towards a bossing mule or a new main. This is the only purpose for the hyper burn. You should not be using this for, strictly like a Link or Legion. This character should be able to check out many boxes for you guys. And this is the first time that we've ever had a hyper burning in Maplestory's history. They're giving out a 250 just like this, and there are also just events in general that will solidify leveling and making this character a lot easier to level, along with just the hyper burning itself. And one of the big changes coming to the leveling process is Monster Park. So 4 new areas are actually getting added to Monster Park beyond Arcana. So you'll have Morass, Asphera, Celas, and Moonbridge that give more XP. Arcana gives around 2.1 billion XP. The next region on top of that, which is Morass, gives 2.7 billion XP. Asphera gives 3.1 billion, and then Celas gives 3.6, and Moonbridge gives 4.6 billion XP. Monster Park, as it is, already gives a lot of XP. A set of 7 Monster Park runs in Reboot will probably, on an average day, give you like 10 to 15% if you're in the 230s. And with double XP or Sunday Monster Park, this goes like well into like the 20s and sometimes even 30s, depending on what you're running. But the fact that Monster Park is actually able to scale into the later levels really, really streamlines the leveling process. You don't really need to go out of your way to farm to actually hit 250, especially with a hyper burn. Just doing Monster Park and doing all of your dailies, considering that dailies also give a lot of daily XP now, can really amount to large amounts of XP every day. They are also changing the earlier regions for Monster Park. So the beginner region used to be level 100 to 105. Now they're changing it to 100. Sorry, not 100. 100 to 105. Cut that out. It's going to be, so the old beginner region was 105 to 110. They're changing that to 105 to 139. So at lower levels, you can actually enter higher leveled regions. So if you do have a very high legion, you can cheese this to get a lot of easy levels in that region. It's not something I personally suggest, but it is an option if you don't want to grind. The intermediate region used to go up to level 180 from 110, but now the intermediate region starts at 140 and goes all the way to 179, and then the advanced region is 180 to pretty much the last region, which is currently out, which is Moonbridge. And on top of that, on top of the 4 new areas that are coming for the 230s to 250s, and the changes to the earlier levels, a new mode of Monster Park is coming back, which used to be a thing back then, and it's making its grand return, is Monster Park Extreme. This is available for only characters that are level 260 and beyond. You can only clear this once a day per world, so ideally you want to be spending this on your highest level character, your main, 100% of the time. But basically, in Monster Park Extreme, you basically kill a bunch of mobs, and once those requirements are met, a boss spawns for a few seconds and disappears, and then you have to kill the mobs again, and then the boss appears again for a longer amount of time, and you basically just work towards killing the boss. Once the boss dies, you get your XP, and you go on with your life. But yeah, Monster Park Extreme and Monster Park in general is one of the changes made to, making the leveling process a lot smoother beyond 200, which does complement a lot of the people who are going to be hyperburning their characters. So on top of the Monster Park changes, there's also going to be some boss changes and new boss difficulties. So Black Mage and Saren are now getting extreme difficulties. In terms of their mechanics, they're going to be mostly the same. It's going to be a change in terms of the damage check because their HP is getting multiplied by 20. Yes, 20. So their HP will go from 500 trillion HP a pop to 10 quadrillion HP. Yes, boys, we've done it. Maplestory bosses are now entering the quadrillions of HP. I don't know how much more ridiculous this is going to get, but yeah. Black Mage and Saren will have roughly 10 quadrillion HP. For the highest, sweatiest endgame players who want the ultimate challenge and who want to take these bosses to the next level. For the players who are progressing to that point, there are changes to normal Varusilla and normal Saren. So normal Varusilla is getting her HP reduced by roughly 30%. The mechanics are eased a little bit, so when you do catch strings and fragments fall from the sky, those fragments only do 15% of your HP instead of 20, and there's only going to be 1 timing change instead of 2 timing changes based on the Soul Reaver attack that happens every few minutes. So that timing change is going to happen at 50% HP for normal Varusilla, but will continue to be at the 66 and 33% HP threshold for hard Varusilla. Normal Saren is getting her health reduced by 25%. Her moves are going to be more telegraphed. There's going to be more space for you to dodge, and when you do get hit by moves, the damage is going to be decreased in comparison to hard Saren. So this is a good change for players who are starting to progress towards the end game and want to learn the mechanics of Saren without having to go to the hardest difficulty and expect the same thing as normal. But yeah, those are the boss changes. I'm pretty sure those are like all the big things that are changing about Maple and Ignition. There are some UI and element changes. Like the boss UI is getting changed. so that you can actually see how many attempts you have on a boss left for that day, whether you've cleared or not, and actually the portrait of that boss so that you actually have like visual elements to discern which boss is which. Before I actually do start talking about the events, I want to say, yes, Cygnus Knights are getting remastered. They all are getting damage improvements and huge QOL, considering that a lot of the Cygnus Knights had like these weird like nuances and quirks to them, if you will. And I would love to give you guys the insider for information or exactly what's changed, but I don't have access to any sort of test server or the KMS server to actually give you guys specific info on what's changed. So if you guys want information on that, either look up KMS gameplay or wait for, other content creators that aren't myself, mainly probably like people like CopperSen or people who do have access to the test server to actually put out content on the revamped Cygnus Knights. But a lot of the Cygnus Knights do look good. I'll probably maybe have some gameplay thrown up here. And a lot of their hitboxes are like huge. But don't expect the Cygnus Knights to be on the scale of the Explorers. There was a developer note explicitly from the KMS development team saying that they kind of overdid the Explorers and that they were stronger than what they expected to be. So they dialed the Cygnus Knights down a little bit in comparison. They aren't weak classes at all, but in comparison to the Explorers, their changes weren't as drastic or anything like that. Yet again, I would love to show you guys, but I don't have access to that yet. So I'll just tell you guys everything about the event and what you're going to be doing with your Cygnus Knights if you actually made one. So the event layout in Ignition is going to be exactly like the one in Destiny, where there's going to be a daily and weekly coin cap along with a 200 level 200 plus minigame. Along with 3 shops that come along with it, a daily coin shop, a weekly coin shop, and a meso coin shop, or a meso shop, sorry. There will be a battle pass system and a ranking system in this event, and as the further you go into this event, you will have event stats to give yourself even more, power to clear bosses, kill monsters, do whatever, do Maplestory things. So we can assume that the rewards in Ignition are going to be similar to the ones in Destiny. The cosmetic items and things might change, but the quantity of progression-related items might reappear, like nodestones, symbols, and flames in that regard. So the daily coin cap in Ignition is once again like the one in Destiny, where you have to complete specific objectives rather than killing a specific amount of mobs. So coin capping can be achieved through activating runes, killing elite monsters, daily bosses, daily quests, and anything just in that regard, anything that you can do on a daily basis. So this can also include Paulo and Fritto portals, Monster Park, and, once again, just daily activities. Each daily activity gives a different amount of coins. And I think the coin cap is going to be similar. I think it's going to be 300. I could be wrong. But yeah, expect that to be in the same realm as Destiny. And with these daily coins from the daily coin shop, you can buy items like nodestones, experience nodestones, symbols, profession-related items, cosmetics, 17-star enhancement scrolls, legendary event ring potential scrolls, and things in that regard. In terms of the meso shop, it's probably going to be mostly useless or cosmetic-related items, maybe with some droplets and fairy hearts included into that meso shop. And then the weekly coin cap is achieved by killing weekly bosses, obviously all the way up to Extreme Seren when that comes out. And with these coins, you can buy things like red flames, rainbow flames, black circulators, and experience nodestones. It's nothing nothing that we're unfamiliar with. The battle pass is mostly the same as well, just a boost in symbols, leveling XP potions, and you can actually double the rewards in the battle pass, but it is an egregious amount of money. I would suggest that you just don't do it unless if you're like loaded on cash and you love Maplestory for some reason. And there's also a like daily XP reward if you do farm monsters. Kind of like the one in Destiny where the Starlight Symphony stars come like raining from the sky, and you have to like take out the stars, and they give you like a huge boost in XP once you take out all of them. Ignition is going to have the same thing. The first Ignition cap, XP cap, if you will, I'm going to call it an XP cap. The first XP cap is basically going to be you fill up this gauge. It's literally just going to be the Ignition logo, and once you fill it up, you can get one of two abilities. One ability basically gives you a moderate amount of XP, and then one gives you a huge amount of XP. Whichever one it is, it's random, which I think is kind of silly, but it is what it is. You do have a chance at larger amounts of XP. But yeah, that's pretty much it for all of the events and all of the important stuff coming in Ignition. So yeah, my final thoughts and, just wrapping up. So what are my overall thoughts on Ignition? To be honest, I think it does what it needs to. It fixes a lot of issues in the game, and I feel like it gives new players the opportunity to actually test what's waiting for them in the late and end game so that they have reason and motivation to move forward and progress. This is a perfect event for new players. It gives them all the resources that they need to get enough damage to get them into a space where they can participate in party bossing, such as Lucid and Will, which I think are amazing staple fights in Maplestory. Besides Lucid Phase 1, we don't talk about that. I hate Lucid Phase 1, and that's literally just because of the class that I play. It's a bad matchup. But yeah, I think it's a great event. A lot of people are upset that the Cygnus Knight remaster isn't the greatest thing, which, I mean, I guess I can understand that. Because obviously the Cygnus Knights do have a place in people's heart, and when, the spotlight is on the Cygnus Knights and they don't even get that much of a change, it can be kind of underwhelming. But I think, once again, a lot of the changes that are made in Ignition do benefit the health of the game. The leveling process before and beyond 200 has become a lot easier. There's a lot more difficulties and things in between that can help, give people or players like a more sense of progression, right? In the sense of like new Inferno Wolf difficulties, new Monster Park difficulties, more boss difficulties. That just makes the game more enjoyable for a broader scope of players, right? To be honest, I'm slightly concerned for what bossing is going to look like in the near future in terms of finding parties and stuff like that. Especially with like normal Varicella, normal Saren, and the extreme difficulties of Black Mage and Saren, considering how difficult those two already are on their hard difficulties. But overall, I think this patch does a lot right with a very little wrong. But yeah, hopefully this video gave you guys some insight on what to expect come Ignition. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. And remember to like, comment, and sub, or I will literally eat your mesos faster than Starforcing does. Thanks.